Pushing on to this next news here. Hey, Bungie. Bungie is in trouble. We've heard a lot over the recent months about how things have taken a bit of a left turn at the company and within their ranks and such. Apparently, from what we're saying, based off of the layoffs, based off of, again, the delays and how things have been going in terms of performance, Bungie could potentially be completely taken over by Sony if they miss financial goals. And this is coming amidst, again, the layoffs, all the cost cutting and extra added responsibility on top of the people who are left behind, potential outsourcing of jobs. This has been a really big hit, and Bungie, again, they're in some trouble, man. How do you feel about this?
Honestly, it's kind of sad to see how like bad they've been doing. And by bad, I don't mean necessarily like financially. I think it's just like in general, I think the higher ups maybe need some shaking up to do. Like I remember at first a lot of people were blaming PlayStation or they were under Activision at first. Sorry. They were
Mm,
blaming Activision for the decisions that were being made about the game, right? They got out from under Activision, they're solo dolo now. Everybody was hype and it kind of only got worse. Then they
yep.
started adding like microtransactions and we were like, mm, I guess they're doing microtransactions because they don't have Activision footing the bill, so they need to make some more money. Okay, sure, sure, sure. We'll tap in. We'll give it up. But it's like really difficult to be a Destiny fan in 2023 when Warframe is right there. Like I played both of those games, and mind you, I enjoy the Destiny gameplay loop more than I enjoy a lot of games. I really do enjoy playing the game, but there is just absolutely no reason I should be playing this game financially speaking. Like there's just no real benefit to it outside of the actual gameplay because it's expensive as hell to play. When you looked at every single expansion, you had to like pay money for it. And then on top of that, there's seasonal stuff too. So you have to pay for those seasonal things. And it just started adding up, and it started getting to a point where playing I think I caught up on all the Bungie on all the Destiny DLC and stuff, and I think I spent like 100 and something dollars to
Good
get all
lord.
the old expansions, all the old BS, just to make sure I'm up to date with it. And then I fell off anyways because the content just isn't really there for me to like the content is there to grind, but I'm
Hmm.
paying this money to grind content. I could just pay this money to get a Monster Hunter where I could just grind on that game and I don't have to pay for extra seasons, extra XYZ, or even just play Warframe where you could really just make a
Yeah.
lot of your money. You can
Yeah.
make the in-game currency
Yep.
by actually just playing the game. Like there's just no real reason. The system is flawed.
Hmm.
And I think that the best thing that can happen for Bungie is that they get taken over because when you're laying people off like the dude who what was it the dude who made Halo the composer who made like the Halo music like they were letting off a bunch of veterans
Mm.
for no real clear reason. And then on top of that, them blaming the fan base, like that's how you know they're out of touch. They're super out of touch. They shouldn't be behind the wheel anymore. It's like letting an 80-year-old person drive. Like they don't they maybe they used to be able to drive pretty well, but they're so lost in the sauce now that even if they were to get into an accident, they're gonna blame somebody else.
Yeah. Nah. You're right, bro. Yeah. It's just it's sad. It's sad, honestly, and I feel like, again, in my opinion, it's down to the folks up top making those decisions at Bungie. Just because they've made these decisions with how the game's going to run, how Destiny's going to function. Uh, that's already been a pain in the ass to people who've been supporting it. Nominated for best community support game at the Game Awards, which is something that we'll get to. I don't think we're going to cover it when we get to the main stories, but being nominated for that is kind of wild considering how this past year's went.
It was a
And
slap in the face, and it
bro,
really felt like like they told Jeff, like, "Yo, please nominate us for this," or somebody at one point was like, "Yo, we need to add them to the list because Bungie's been good to us," or some BS like that. It feels political that
yeah.
nomination because there's no absolutely no way a company blaming their fan base is like community support. Are you kidding me, bro? That is rude to even put that on the show.
That's a spit in the face of people who actually love and support the Destiny shit. And again, I'm not a Destiny motherfucker. Honestly, again, I left literally before the first DLC dropped in the first game. I wasn't there long, but to people who have been committed to that, if you're a gamer that supports a franchise with your lifeblood and you really love it, and again, there's whole cons that have been made around it and shit like that, but to do that, to them, that's disrespectful. And to be nominated for some shit like that across the year, that's even more disrespectful. But again, it's just all the chickens coming home to roost in a sense, man. The bad decisions on part of the leadership of Bungie have put them in this position to where, one, the layoffs have been pretty aggressive at Bungie, and apparently it's kind of severed that relationship between again, the workers and the people who've been making these decisions. Apparently the morale is just like super bad. It's like, you know, people up top want to tout this community culture at the company, but it just hasn't been reflected. You know, they lost some good people. They just piled on more to the people who've been, you know, who are still there at the company. And it's just, apparently all of this is just because they want to cost cut as hard as they possibly can to remain independent, to remain, you know what I'm saying, wholly in control of Bungie, or Sony takes them over. So it's like it's a catch-22. It's such a catch-22, you know what I'm saying? And on one hand, I don't want to see Bungie get completely taken over by Sony. I love when companies have their independence and they're able to execute on their visions, you know, because they know what they want most. They know how to execute on their games most. But on the opposite side, seeing how this company's been run, maybe them being absorbed by some people who have some better, you know what I'm saying, controls over the company would be a better idea. Maybe Sony putting them under, you know, again, some supervision would be a good idea, because it looks like it's running into the ground. Everything looks like it's banking on, what's it called? What was it? First Light? The DLC is coming out in February. They got delayed. Is it First Light? Yeah. Looks
like that. Yeah.
Looks like all this shit's banking on that, and I don't know if you guys are gonna have enough goodwill stored in the bank to bring people back for that time, and who knows if that's gonna be, you know, quality enough. So it's such a dire situation. I feel for Bungie, and again, that's a knock-on effect to everything else that they're doing. The marathon shooter that they were again bringing back, are reviving in terms of the IP. This could be, you know, like the last days of Bungie, and I don't want it to be. I don't want it to be for any intent and purpose, but they've got to find a way to fix the relationship between the people who are, again, there on the floor making these games. And after that, they need to figure out how to restore faith in you know, in the community that supports them, in the gamers that play Destiny 2, or else it's not looking good for them.
So for me, I completely understand where you're coming from, where it's like, yo, I want to see, like, I don't want to see them lose their independence. And I agree that like a company's independence is very important, and it's something that I too don't like to see smaller companies getting eaten up by giant titans, because obviously that's how you get monopolies. And as we all know, I hate monopolies.
Mm-hmm.
But I also want to see people actually give a fuck, and that's the problem that I don't really see from Bungie, is that I don't really see them caring. And the reason I say this is because just looking at the way you talked about your own community, that when I saw that, I kind of really just lost all faith, because
Mm-hmm.
there's no way you're gonna blame the people who are paying your bills and saying, these people got laid off because y'all aren't buying enough silver coins. Are you kidding me, bro? These people got laid off. We didn't make the decisions to like, if you would have told me, hey, what do you want to see in the game? And I picked it, and then nobody else played that mode or bought that expansion because I did my decision. Yes, then it is 1000% my fault, Bungie. I'm not in those boardroom meetings. I'm not in the meetings of how this game is going to progress. You guys are. So to sit here and be like, oh well, the people aren't spending enough money on our game. Why aren't they spending enough money on the game? Because there's nothing to spend money on outside of cosmetics.
Mm-hmm.
There's the game itself isn't bringing people back. I bought the new Lightfall or whatever game mode. I bought that expansion, and after that, I fell off. I stopped caring because it was just seasonal shit, and it was like, oh, do XYZ to get this cool gun, and the gun is
Yeah.
like whatever. Like, it's just not. You guys aren't really trying. You guys thought you were gonna have like some bread and butter. The cinematics aren't even really there. Like the story mode was kind of buns. I wanted more. Your expansions have been very lackluster. They don't even feel like expansions. They feel like DLC. And that's something that's not a good thing. Like, at the end of the day, that is not what you want. You don't want me to walk away from this like, oh, that was cool DLC. If it is an expansion, I need some expanse. You know, I need some
Mm-hmm.
big reasons. But yeah, no, I don't. I honestly don't want to see Bungie become like a part of the Sony empire, but honestly, I don't want to see Bungie continue to do what the fuck they're doing now. I think a lot of the leadership either needs to, like, if they want to stay independent, they need to remove a lot of the leadership, or just let PlayStation handle it and just let them do what they're gonna do. Because I promise you one thing, I think it'll be better than what we have right
Mm.
now.
Mm.